1978 D. What if a single nickel sitting forgotten in your change jar could hold the power to change your life? Imagine, just 5 cents from 1978, the kind you may have once slipped into a soda machine, could today be worth far more than you ever dreamed. And here's the secret: many collectors are searching desperately for one special Jefferson nickel, struck in Denver, with stories of error, rarity, and hidden value that make it a treasure hiding in plain sight. Back in 1978, America was a country of change. New cars rolled off the lots, gas prices were on the rise, and Jefferson nickels jingled in nearly every pocket. Most people never gave them a second thought. But among the millions minted that year, a few coins carried something extraordinary. Picture this: a collector at a small-town flea market stumbles on a dusty box of coins, picks out what looks like an ordinary nickel, and later realizes it's one of those rare 1978 D Monticello nickels. That single coin, overlooked by thousands before, suddenly becomes the centerpiece of a collection, valued not for 5 cents, but for hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. What makes this coin so valuable? It's not just the date. It's the D mint mark from Denver, and the fact that certain 1978 D Jefferson nickels show striking errors, double dies, weak strikes, or even unusual steps on Monticello that were not meant to pass inspection. When preserved in brilliant condition, these coins are now in high demand, with collectors paying serious money to secure one. They aren't just coins, they're pieces of American history, frozen in time, and growing rarer by the day. Too many times, stories emerge of people unknowingly giving away treasures. A man in Ohio once handed over a roll of old nickels at the bank, never realizing one of them was worth thousands. Can you imagine the regret? Every time a rare 1978 D nickel slips through unrecognized, it's like throwing away a piece of hidden wealth. The truth is, these nickels are out there, waiting to be found, and the only question is, will you recognize yours before it's too late? Here's what makes these nickels stand out. The year, of course, is 1978, and the mint mark should be a bold D, placed on the coin's reverse near Monticello. Collectors especially seek those nickels with fully defined steps on Monticello's base, or any sign of doubling on the lettering. If the coin has been kept in excellent condition, untouched by wear, that's where the true magic lies. The difference between 5 cents and a small fortune. If you think you've spotted one, don't second guess yourself. Reputable grading services like PCGS and NGC are trusted worldwide to confirm authenticity and assign value. A professional dealer can also give you insight, but the key is not to dismiss that coin in your pocket or jar before having it checked. So take a moment, think of that old jar tucked away in your kitchen, the drawer where forgotten change rests, or the box of coins handed down by family. Inside could be the very nickel collectors are chasing today. That's not just money, that's history, that's legacy, that's possibility. Don't let your treasure go unnoticed. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we uncover the hidden wealth of America's coins and help you find the history hiding in plain sight. 1984 P. What if I told you that a simple nickel, the kind you might have tossed into a gumball machine back in the 1980s, could today be worth far more than its face value, even thousands of dollars? Imagine the power of a single coin, forgotten in a jar or hiding in a drawer, holding the key to an unexpected fortune. I remember a story of a man in Pennsylvania who spent his childhood playing with coins from his father's pocket change. Decades later, while sorting through an old box, he spotted a Jefferson nickel that looked oddly sharp and flawless compared to the rest. That coin turned out to be a rare 1984 P Monticello nickel, one that collectors had been searching for. Suddenly, something he once overlooked became a prized possession, a bridge between the memory of his father and the world of rare coin collecting. The 1984 P Monticello nickel isn't just any coin. What makes it truly extraordinary is the strength of its strike, the detail in Jefferson's portrait, and the presence of certain rare errors from that year. Some coins from the Philadelphia Mint were struck with such precision that they reveal features collectors crave, while others carry subtle die flaws or doubling that send their value skyrocketing. To the untrained eye, it may look like any other nickel. But to those who know what to look for, it's a discovery worth celebrating, a coin in high demand, chased after by serious collectors willing to pay dearly for it. Far too many of these nickels have slipped through the cracks. People spent them without knowing, passed them down without checking, or simply let them disappear into circulation. Every day, someone unknowingly hands over a piece of history in exchange for 5 cents of candy. That loss is not just financial, it's a chance to hold something rare, something meaningful, something that carries a story from 1984 into the present. Here's what makes this nickel one worth searching for: the date, 1984, must carry the P mint mark from Philadelphia. Look closely at Jefferson's profile, the sharpness of his image matters. Flip the coin and pay attention to Monticello. On certain versions, the steps are fully struck, an incredibly rare detail that dramatically increases value. Others show unique doubling, which transforms an ordinary coin into a treasure. If you believe you found one, don't rely on guesswork. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC exist for a reason. They verify authenticity, grade the condition, and establish market value. That little nickel could move from your pocket to a certified holder, and from there, into the hands of eager collectors who recognize its worth. So, before you overlook that old jar of coins sitting in your kitchen, take one more careful look. Because inside, you might find not just a piece of change, but a piece of history, a coin that connects your memories to a brighter future. And if you want to keep uncovering these treasures hiding in plain sight, subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where every coin tells a story, and sometimes, that story is worth a fortune. 1987. What if the nickel you held as a child, the same one you slipped into a soda machine or dropped into a jar on your dresser, could be worth far more than its face value today? Imagine finding a single coin from 1987 that collectors now chase with open checkbooks, eager to own a piece of forgotten American history. Let me take you back to the year 1987. The world was changing, Reagan was in the White House, the Cold War was cooling, and Americans were carrying the Jefferson nickel every single day without thinking twice. In Denver, the mint struck millions of these nickels with the D mark below Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's proud Virginia home. But not every nickel struck that year was ordinary. Among the ocean of coins, a few carried small quirks, subtle imperfections, or details that made them stand apart. These nickels slipped quietly into circulation, waiting decades for collectors to discover their true worth. The reveal, the truth: the 1987 D. Jefferson nickel is not rare because of its year alone, but because certain examples have minting anomalies, full steps on Monticello, sharper strikes, or error features that make them coveted by collectors. While most nickels from that year are worth only face value, the high-grade survivors and error pieces can command hundreds, even thousands of dollars at auction. And here's the truth: these aren't hiding in museums, they're still in circulation, tucked away in coin jars, forgotten in drawers, and resting in boxes passed down through families. I've spoken to collectors who shared stories of regret. One gentleman remembered cashing in jars of old nickels at the bank without ever checking them. Years later, he learned that one of the coins he likely spent could have been worth over $1,000. Another woman recalled her father tossing his old pocket change into a coin machine, never realizing that among the ordinary nickels, one had the full steps designation that collectors fight over today. Those opportunities slipped away forever, but yours doesn't have to. When you hold a 1987 nickel, check for the D mint mark beneath Monticello on the reverse side. Look closely at the steps of the building. If they are sharp, clean, and fully defined, you may have what collectors call a full steps Jefferson nickel. And always pay attention to striking errors. Doubling on the lettering, off-center strikes, or unusually sharp detail can turn a simple nickel into a treasure. If you suspect you found one, the best way to confirm is to have it examined by trusted grading services such as PCGS or NGC, or by a reputable coin dealer who knows how to spot these hidden gems. So before you dismiss that old change jar in the kitchen or those rolls of nickels sitting in a shoebox, take another look. A simple 1987 D. Jefferson nickel could be the hidden treasure that brings both history and value into your hands. This isn't just pocket change, it's a piece of America's story, waiting to be rediscovered. And remember, sometimes the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you uncover the history that's been hiding in plain sight. What if I told you that a nickel you held in your hand as a child, just 5 cents to buy a piece of candy, could today be worth thousands of dollars? That's right, a simple Jefferson nickel from 1974, one without a mint mark, has become one of the most mysterious and valuable treasures hiding in plain sight. And the best part? It could be sitting in your change jar right now. Picture this. A man in Ohio, years after retirement, sat at his kitchen table on a quiet Sunday afternoon. He was sorting through a box of old coins he had tucked away since the 70s. At first, it was just nostalgia. The sound of those nickels and pennies clinking together reminded him of simpler times, of walking to the corner store with a handful of change. But then, he noticed something unusual. A 1974 nickel with no mint mark beneath Monticello. He almost overlooked it, but that single coin, something he once spent hundreds of times without thinking, turned out to be worth more than his first car. What makes this coin so special? In 1974, Jefferson Nickels were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. Normally, coins from Denver bear a tiny D mint mark, and those from San Francisco carry an S. But a handful of nickels from Philadelphia were struck without any mint mark at all. This was not supposed to happen. That little missing letter is what transforms an ordinary 5-cent piece into a rare and highly sought-after collector's prize. Now imagine this. How many people had one of these nickels in their pockets, jingling with their loose change, and simply spent it on a soda or a bus ride? Some of these coins slipped through the cracks, lost forever in circulation. People didn't know then what they were holding. And that's where opportunity is knocking for you today, because you do know that if you've held on to your old coins, the hunt is worth it. The date should read 1974, and when you glance just beside Jefferson's portrait, where that mint mark should be, you'll notice its absence. No D, no S, nothing at all. That's the sign you found one of the most talked about nickels in the collecting world. Flip it, admire Monticello on the back, and realize you may be holding a piece of history. If you believe you found one, the best way to be sure is to have it checked by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC, or by a reputable dealer in your area. They'll confirm its authenticity and help you understand just how much it could fetch in today's market. So before you walk past that jar of coins on the counter or those dusty boxes in the attic, take another look. Because sometimes, the key to a brighter future isn't in stocks or bonds, but in the coins you've had all along. That old nickel from your childhood could be worth more than you ever dreamed. And if you love uncovering treasures of history hiding in plain sight, make sure you subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where every coin tells a story, and one of them might just change your life. 1998 D. What if I told you that a simple nickel from the late 1990s, the kind you might have spent on a soda or dropped into a payphone, could today be worth thousands of dollars? Yes, a coin as ordinary as the 1998 D. Jefferson Monticello nickel has become a hidden treasure that collectors are searching for with incredible urgency. And the best part? You just might have one sitting in a jar or tucked away in an old drawer without even knowing it. I once heard the story of a retired schoolteacher who had saved jars of coins from her years of teaching. She kept them as reminders of the children who used to bring nickels and dimes for lunch money. One day, while sorting through them, she stumbled across a 1998 D. Jefferson nickel that looked just a little different. That little different turned into a moment that changed her life. A single coin from her past, tied to memories of simpler times, turned out to be a rare collectible worth far more than face value. It was as if history had been sitting quietly in her home, waiting to be rediscovered. So what makes the 1998 D. Jefferson nickel so valuable? It comes down to its mint mark, its date, and in some cases, specific die errors that set it apart. The Denver Mint produced millions of nickels that year, but only a fraction carry the unique characteristics that collectors desperately want. Sharp details on Monticello, stronger strikes, and rare die varieties make these coins rise above the ordinary. While most nickels are still worth just 5 cents, the right 1998 D can fetch thousands at auction because collectors are in fierce competition to own such a scarce piece. Imagine someone spending one of these rare nickels at the corner store, never realizing what they had. It happens more often than you'd think. People give them away, they vanish into circulation, and those small fortunes are lost forever. That is why awareness is so important, because once it slips away, it's gone for good. Here's what you need to keep in mind when you check your coins. First, the date. It must read 1998, and the mint mark D should be just beside Jefferson's portrait, signaling it was struck in Denver. Next, study Monticello on the reverse of the coin. On the valuable versions, the steps of Monticello are crisp and well defined, sometimes referred to as full steps. In addition, look closely for any unusual doubling or striking errors. These small details can transform an ordinary nickel into a collector's dream. If you believe you have one of these treasures, the next step is simple. You don't have to guess. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC specialize in confirming authenticity and assigning value. Even a trusted local coin dealer can guide you, ensuring you don't let a valuable piece of history slip away unnoticed. Think about it. A coin you picked up in your change decades ago, a nickel you might have tossed into an old coffee tin, could now be the key to unlocking something far greater. It's not just about money, it's about history, memory, and the thrill of discovery. So tonight, take a moment to look through those jars, those drawers, those old boxes in the attic. Because inside, you might just find the 1998 D Monticello nickel that collectors are scrambling to own. That little piece of change could become your story, your treasure, your legacy. 2000p. What if the nickel you once tossed into a gumball machine could now be worth thousands of dollars? Imagine pulling a simple 2000 Jefferson nickel from your pocket change, only to discover it's a treasure that collectors are hunting for today. Picture this: a man in Pennsylvania, sorting through his late father's old coffee can of coins, stumbles upon a handful of nickels. At first glance, they look ordinary, dull, worn, and forgotten by time. But among them is a single 2000p Monticello Jefferson nickel, one that tells a story far greater than its 5-cent face value. This coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint at the turn of the new millennium, carries with it a quiet legacy. The year 2000 wasn't just a flip of the calendar, it was the dawn of a new century, and the U.S. Mint's presses were working harder than ever. But within that sea of production, rare errors and unique details slipped through, and those are what make this nickel extraordinary today. The truth is simple but powerful: not every 2000p Monticello nickel is special, but certain ones with striking mint errors, sharp die details, or off-center strikes are commanding astonishing prices from collectors. The Philadelphia Mint mark, sitting proudly just beside Jefferson's portrait, can turn an everyday coin into a prized piece if the right flaw or condition is present. The demand for pristine, high-grade examples has soared, with collectors paying thousands for a nickel that most people wouldn't even look at twice. Now here's the heartbreaking part: thousands of these treasures have already been spent unknowingly at grocery stores, vending machines, and gas stations. Imagine someone handing over a coin that could pay for a family vacation, just to buy a soda. That's the tragedy of not knowing what hides in plain sight. When you hold a 2000p Monticello Jefferson nickel in your hand, pay attention to the details. The year must read 2000 with the P mint mark proudly displayed. The coin should be flipped to reveal Monticello on the reverse. Look closely at the steps, the alignment, and the strike. Errors such as doubling, off-center images, or a flawless full-step strike are exactly what collectors are willing to pay a fortune for. These are the hallmarks of a true treasure hiding in your change. If you believe you found one, the next step is to confirm its worth. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC, or trusted coin dealers, can officially certify your nickel, unlocking its full market value. A professional's eye can turn your hunch into undeniable proof. So before you dismiss that old jar of coins sitting in the kitchen, take a second look. Within those nickels could be a piece of history, and perhaps your unexpected fortune. Every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth far more than 5 cents. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you discover the history hiding in plain sight, because sometimes, the smallest coin can hold the biggest reward. 2006. What if I told you that a simple nickel, the kind you may have tossed into a jar decades ago without a second thought, could now be worth thousands of dollars? That same small coin you once used to buy a soda or pay a parking meter might today be the very key to uncovering a hidden fortune. In 2006, the U.S. Mint reintroduced the familiar image of Monticello on the Jefferson nickel after years of design changes. To most people, it was just another coin sliding quietly into their change purse. But to sharp-eyed collectors, something extraordinary happened. A batch of these Denver-minted nickels left the presses carrying small, unusual details, errors so rare that only a handful survived. Imagine someone picking up a handful of change at the gas station, not knowing that one tiny coin in their palm could one day sell for more than a car. These stories are not fairy tales, they are part of numismatic history, and they are happening to ordinary people who simply pay attention. The 2006 de Monticello Thomas Jefferson nickel is special because of its minting anomalies. Struck in Denver, certain coins came out with doubled images on the inscriptions, slightly off-center strikes, or flaws in the Monticello detail itself. These imperfections, barely noticeable to the casual eye, have made them treasures in the collecting world. What makes them so valuable is not just their rarity, but also the fact that most people overlook them. They spend them, they ignore them, they let them slip away. While collectors know they're holding gold disguised as nickel, too many people have already lost their chance. There are stories of individuals who unknowingly spent these coins at face value, handing over a potential five-figure treasure for a simple pack of gum. Others swept them up in coin-counting machines, gone forever into circulation, never realizing what they had. Each one spent is a story of lost opportunity, and each story is a reminder that the next coin in your pocket could be the one that changes everything. So what should you keep your eyes on? The date must read 2006, with that bold little D mint mark resting proudly beneath the year. On the reverse, Monticello should be sharp, but the rare ones reveal slight doubling in the lettering or weakness in the dome that collectors crave. Even a slight misalignment of the strike can turn a 5-cent piece into a small fortune. And always check the edges and inscriptions, because it's the tiny flaws that hold the greatest value. If you suspect you found one, don't leave it to chance. Professional services like PCGS or NGC can grade and authenticate your coin, giving you not just peace of mind but also the power to sell it for its true worth. A simple verification can turn a kitchen drawer discovery into a certified piece of American history. Think about that jar of coin sitting quietly in your kitchen, or the old change tucked away in a dresser. Inside could be the very nickel that transforms your tomorrow. These aren't just coins, they are timeless treasures, pieces of America's story waiting for you to uncover. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures, where we help you find the history hiding in plain sight, because the past may just pay for your future.